Before I start, I want to do a little audience participation. First of all, I'm going to ask two questions. First of all, how many have heard of GPS or GPS technology? A lot. Okay. Now, how many people have heard of this, geocaching? A few? Okay. Other than the fact that I just mentioned it here right first. Okay. So I know what you're asking yourself. What the heck is he talking about? What the heck is geocaching? Well, what geocaching essentially is electronic treasure hunting using a handheld GPS, which is what this thing is. And basically what a geocacher will do, he will go out and he will find a container or a cache using that device, and once he finds it, he will sign the logbook that's in there, he will take out a little trinket, put in a little trinket, and do whatever. Now these caches can be hidden anywhere in the world. They can be in easy to get to places, hard to get to places, or whatever. And these are hidden by fellow geocachers who also use their GPS. They record the coordinates of the cache where it's located. They'll post them on the website, and then someone else will load those same coordinates into their GPS and go off and find it. So okay, so I've mentioned that a geocache is a container. So what sort of containers are we talking about? Well, the smallest container that I've seen is about twice the size of the rubber on the top of a pencil. So visualize that. And the largest one that I've seen is about the size of a rectangular ammo container, which is about this big, about this tall, by about this thick. And a typical container could be something like the size of a 2-liter peanut butter container or a Vistol butter container, something like that. And these containers contain like little trinkets that you can take a little trinket out, put a little trinket in. I think the general idea is to get them moving around. And a logbook so that you will record your visit. You just sign your name to it and date it. Okay, so now that you got a general idea about what geocaching is, so how would I go about getting started in this activity? And there's two things really that you need to do. First of all, you're going to have to get yourself one of these things. This is a handheld GPS unit. This particular one is a German, it's my own. You can buy these at any large department stores, electronic centers, online. I've seen prices ranging from $100 to about $500. You can get something somewhere in between. And they're not that hard to use. My first one took me about half an hour sitting on the deck, reading the manual and pushing the buttons. And lo and behold, I caught on how to use it. Okay, so now that you got a GPS and you know that you got to go find containers, where do I go about getting the information? So to do that, you have to go to a geocaching website. And there are several out there, but the definitive one is www.geocaching.com. And you go there, and you go to the home page, and you can create yourself a basic, free, there's that word free we all love to hear, an account. And once you've established a free account for yourself, you can then zoom into a particular map of anywhere that you live, for argument's sake, and you will see where all the geocaches are hidden in your particular area. You can select one of those little caches, record the coordinates, and off you go and find one. And I'd just like to mention that these things are accurate to about, this particular one is accurate to about 3 meters, so it'll get you within about 3 meters of where the actual cache is, and then you have to spend a bit of time on hands and knees looking for it. That's about 9 feet in English. Okay, so now that you know what a cache is and what you need to do to get involved, now you're probably asking yourself, well, why should I get involved in something like this? Are there any benefits that I can get out of this? Well, yeah, there are many. First of all, it's an outdoor activity. And what that implies is you have to walk somewhere. And it doesn't have to be a long walk, a strenuous walk, or a hard walk. It can be if you want, but you can choose the easy ones, and it gets you outside, gets you in the fresh air, and gets you walking. And that's always a good thing. Now, another thing about the geocaching, and I've experienced this, it'll take you to places where you normally wouldn't go. And, for example, I think a lot of people here know where Elizabeth Towers is on Elizabeth Avenue. Right behind there is a little baseball field. Now, I grew up near there, and I lived near that general area. And I had no idea it was there until I started doing geocaching. Somebody had placed one there, and when I found it, I said, oh, look at this. I didn't know this was here. So there's a sense of discovery about it. And that's great. And you can also learn a little bit of history about a particular place as well. Like some geocaches are set up so that they're in an area of some sort of historical significance. For example, I discovered that in Harbor Gray, someone had put a geocache at an old abandoned airfield, which I did not know was there. And apparently, this airfield had been visited in 1932 by no less an aviator than Amelia Earhart herself, 5 years before she crossed her ill-fated trip across the Pacific. And speaking of aviators, did you know, for argument's sake, that Charles Lindbergh, who flew solo across the Atlantic in 1927, he had made a brief stop in Kitty Vitty, and then he went on to land in Bay Bull's Big Pond. And these are those little things that you get to know when you engage in this sport. And finally, it's a great social activity. You can do geocaching by yourself if you want, or you can do it with relatives, friends, colleagues, fellow workers, or whatever. And it gets you outside and everybody is engaging in the same thing. You can meet other geocachers, swap stories, so there's a social aspect to all of this as well. So in summary then, geocaching is an outdoor treasure hunting activity. And anyone who has one of these things here, these handheld GPS units, can engage in. And the benefits include adventure, discovery, exploration, learning a little bit more history, and becoming involved in a social activity. Now, as I finish up here now, I just want to make one point. The title of my speech tonight is Geocaching Part 1. Because of time constraints, I can't go into as much detail as I would like, so I'm planning to revisit this activity 3 or 4 speeches from now, and do it in the form of a PowerPoint, so that not only can you hear what I'm talking about, but you'll be able to see exactly what it is I like about this activity. And so on that note, I'm now going to take my GPS and navigate my way back to my seat. Thank you very much.